Okay, so in this video, we're going to cover how to make changes to the wording within the guide. So we're going to use a tool called Rename If, and I'll point out again that we've already got our permissions set up. So here we have the URL for the guide, and because this is code land, we're doing and email equals. In this case, I'm using mine. You guys will be using your sam_drogi@yahoo.com one, and then a PIN number, which you got from Yahoo in this case, but I got from my government account. And so this allows me to make these changes, and you see here, this is the expanded menu that you would get when you click on the word menu over here. So Rename If is one of the tools over here. Note that in some cases we might click on score and then a species over here. You really don't want to do that with Rename If. You can, but basically it will mess it up, and it will come back at the end and say, hey, you can't do that. So, but what happens is a lot of times you might forget that you had been working on Halictus tectus, doing something else. And then you say, oh, now I want to do some renaming of some of the wording here because I've got some better information. And this lingers, maybe even hidden from you by a scroll down or that kind of thing. And you'll go through all the kinds of things we're talking about, and it won't work. It usually gives you an error message, but basically I think it also indicates that you have added a species in. So that can be confusing. You just make sure that you have nothing in there. A usual good work habit is to hit the reset button, and that clears everything out. And now just go to Rename If, click Submit. You end up, DiscoverLife didn't send any data. We'll try that again. This is a good practice because this happens every once in a while. I'm going to reset it, Rename If, submit. There we go. All right, there's 3 columns. The central column essentially is never used. It could be theoretically used. We're not going to use it. This column is also essentially never used for Rename If. It's done in other situations. So you're going to ignore this too. I should say that the buttons are ignorable in these things. We're going to be using character and state a lot. So now we're going to go to the guides, and we're going to work on renaming something. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't have anything in particular in mind. But let's say in this particular case, I want to put a period in the term versus, which may or may not be proper. I'm not very good at grammar. Okay, so I'm going to copy, because everything else is the same. I'm just going to copy that phrase there. And you can see here it says character. So this is the character, and these are the states of the character below. So there's information about Halictus confusus and Halictus virgitalis down there below. But we're working with the character. So again, you have to kind of pay attention to how you're lining things up. So we don't want to put something in the state. We're going to put something in the character. And this is the place that you put your new wording, which in this case is not very extensive. You can write whatever you want. You can change this completely out to something else by deleting all the tools that you can imagine for editing are available to you. In this case, all you want to do is add the period. Again, it could be many other kinds of changes in there. And I'm going to hit save. There's nothing else to do. And you see no error message at the top. That's good. It says refresh to activate it. Here's information about your code. So it's saying rename female. This is the old wording. And it's saying for all these different attributes, which you didn't touch. You didn't make any of those changes. And it's to this female, same thing, but there's a period, and there it is. It all looks good. We hit refresh, and it should come back up. If I hit refresh correctly, there we go. No error message. Here is the list of species reflecting the checklist or the checklist for the thing. We're clean. It has made those changes. And we can see this. We could actually go to the online key, but I believe that that particular, well, let's just do that. So we could go to restart and we could go to, I don't know if that, yeah. So some of these characters, particularly like we saw a very detailed one where we had Halictus, two different species torn apart, is not going to show up. So I'm playing with the guide. I hit search. All the species came up because I really didn't click on anything. And I'm going to hit simplify. And that's going to let all the very many characters show up here. So I am also a little fuzzy as to, I know Virgolatellis, or whatever that Western one name was involved. Let's see. Let's find it. Let me go Verg and jump down. It's going through all the different ways to use the line. And Virginia, Vergatellis, and there's our period right there. So we added it in. And so it's been there successful. After a little bit, you don't need to do these double checks. It's pretty straightforward. We would do exactly the same thing if we wanted to change the wording in any way, shape, or form for the states. These are called states of a character. And we'll just touch on that because it's really the same process. It's just a tiny bit. So again, we're not clicking on any other buttons other than rename if. There it is at the top. I'm going to get rid of that because it's messing with us. So if I want to change something about this state of this character, so this parallelis thing, I would probably copy everything because I'm just going to modify it. And I'm not going to put it up here in the character. In fact, it will give me an error message if I try and do that. I'm going to put it down below and I'm going to make a change. What did I, this seems odd. It says to the position of the eye. Should that be?
You didn't select it.
Oh, I didn't select the whole thing. Oh, okay. Oh, that's an L. Okay, yes. You do want to select everything and be careful. So put that back in. Now I can make any changes. I can add spaces. I don't have any need to. It's the same process. You would make whatever changes in wording, then you hit save, then you hit refresh. It's done. Now, in both the situation of a page changes, or actually almost every changes, you are able to see your changes, like we did this just a second ago, on your copy of the guide. The public, the out-facing people, your colleagues are not going to see it till tomorrow. Every once in a while, it takes 2 days to refresh it out, so that you can keep working on the guide, making mistakes, having a lot of in-between states without messing people up who are actually using the guide. So the changes, you'll see them because you're in this permission space over here, but no one else is going to see them until tomorrow. And like I said, every once in a while, it takes a couple days for the changes to show up in the guides. So that's all I have. We'll try and cover the addition of new characters and states in another video, but we're going to stop here with just modifications, and we'll cover those things later. Okay.